We're live. I've got Ange, and she's picked a great song. She's a good girl, loves her mama, loves Jesus and America too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis, loves horses and a boyfriend too. Cause I'm free falling, and I'm free falling. There you go. That's all I'm playing because the show's about you, Ange. And my very first question is, why did you pick that song?
Well, you're lucky that I muted, because that is the song that my best friend and I used to sing and harmonise together when we first became best friends. So I carry that around. It's a very special place in my heart. So thank you for doing it justice.
No, absolutely. And you actually gave me two choices.
I did.
So the other song was "Don't Stop" by Fleetwood Mac, which is brilliant. It was a brilliant song. But I have had quite a few people have that before, but no one's ever asked for this song. So it was down to me to choose. And another reason I chose this song today is because my daughter's getting married in 6 weeks' time, and I'm going to cry now. Oh. And she's asked me to play a few songs, and that is one of those songs. So that's lovely. So yeah, I'm going to get myself a tissue.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So we've got Pavel here today, and we've got Hannah. So hi guys, thanks for joining us. And we've got the lovely Ange. So Ange, tell us a little bit about yourself.
No pressure. I'm Ange. I'm an accredited counsellor and psychotherapist. I support the mental health of young people and adults, focusing specifically on anxiety and anxiety relief. And I do all kinds of things related to that, from training to counselling to workshops to therapeutic groups.
Yeah, so we're not going to have time today, are we? We're really not going to have time today. So look, I get this straight out there. Come back. So I love chatting to people and I love finding out stuff. And look, we're 15 minutes behind the profile, and people do know that I go over a little bit. But I'm going to ask you loads of questions about the anxiety. But I also want to start off with finding out a little bit about what you do on LinkedIn. Another vote for Free Falling. Thank you, John. Do you use social media regularly?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You say that, right? As if it's a guilty thing.
Sometimes feels like it is. Yeah, I get most of my business through social media. So initially from Facebook back in the day, and then predominantly through LinkedIn now. So, and I've just started on TikTok. I've posted 2 videos. You'll know because I've been following you on there. I've posted two videos on there. So that's my tentative venture into the land of video.
Well done. A video is so important. If anyone wants to comment why they think video is so important, and that's why I like doing these, because people start feeling that they know you, and that's the whole thing about social media, isn't it? If I'm going to pick somebody to help me with my anxiety, I'm going to pick that Ange lady because I've seen her. She's got a nice smiley face. She's got a nice attitude, and I feel as if I know her. And so when you do a lot of video, people come up to you when you're at an event. They go, "Oh, da, 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 da." It's lovely. It is really, really lovely. It breaks down an awful lot of barriers. So yeah, keep doing those videos and do them on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, I went through a little phase. I actually got a big contract through doing videos maybe a couple of years ago. So wow. I know that it works. It's the commitment to it that I'm resistant to sometimes.
Right. Okay. So here's something. Here's a little tip for you. Never thought you'd get this today. If you actually turn around and say, I am going to do a video every X day. So make it, Wednesday wisdom. Or something like that. I can't think of any alliterations that go with anxiety, but there might be worry Wednesday or worry less Wednesday. There you go. And so every single Wednesday, we know that at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever, you drop a little video that gives us a little bit of advice about that. Because I do that on a Monday. So I come up with 5 ideas for LinkedIn on a Monday, and I get people that never comment on it. Oh yeah, I love your videos. I set myself up with a coffee and then I sit and watch your video. Like, wow. And so by doing that, every Monday, I don't have to worry about what I post because I know it's a video. All week, I'm thinking about my ideas for the video, and everybody is looking forward to the video. So, and it means that I'm committed to do a video every single week. So if you did something like that, then that would get you doing those videos. So yeah.
Love that. And I always need accountability. So I need a reason often to do something like that. So love that. Thank you.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And we've had 3 bank holidays in May, but I still did a video every Monday. Now, obviously, I didn't get the interaction that I normally get because everyone was out, but I still did them. And because of the, like you say, the accountability, I'm doing those videos. And so by the end of the year, I've done 52 videos without thinking about it. Without thinking about it. And that's the amazing thing. And the other nice thing is you can go into the analytics and you can see how much that video has been watched. And sometimes my 2-minute video has been watched for 200 minutes. So that's an awful lot of eyes on that video. So there you go. If that's not an excuse to get Ange doing more video, but come back here and drop a link for your video so that we know to look out for it.
There we go.
Because that'd be really helpful. So what do you like about LinkedIn then?
I actually really like it feels like a community, which sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I think because you kind of get to choose who you spend time with and where you put your focus and attention, actually you can collect and gather some really incredible human beings, and you can kind of tailor your experience to suit how you're feeling. So I've met some absolutely wonderful people and done a huge amount of business, both worked with people as in needing coaching or LinkedIn support or lots of different things, as well as being booked for things. So yeah, that's what I love about it. It feels like a very warm and friendly place. That's my experience of it anyway.
And it's mine 100%. And some of the people on here would totally agree with you. And I'm going to give John a shout out because that's a great comment there. So John Asperian, he is an amazing LinkedIn expert. He is the relentlessly helpful LinkedIn nerd. So you want to go. I've probably got that wrong, John. I do apologize. But John is saying that all the people that he remembers most in his feed are those that he's seen on video. That alone makes it a powerful content medium. So there you go. If there was ever an excuse to do video, I think that's it. So yeah, the community is incredible. And well, that's how we've met. But I end up making friends on LinkedIn. I don't know if you could hear that. That was my phone going. Don't people know that I'm doing a live show today? So one of my questions is, do you get business? So you've already done that. Do you have a specific time that you create your content, or do you just do it as and when?
I do it as and when. It really depends on how busy I am, depends what client work I'm doing or what projects I'm working on. So I don't tend to sort of have a particular time that I think, oh, actually, this is when I'm going to press send. I think if I'm too rigid with what I'm doing, then my inner teenager rebels against that. And then I end up not posting anything at all. So I kind of have to give the inner teenager a little bit of flow and just press send when the need sort of takes me. I have a strategy, and I have somebody that creates all of the images for my website, for my social media. So we have structure and strategy in place, but when I actually write the full content and press send, very variable.
No, I like the idea that you've got a strategy there. That's really good, because that again, that's your accountability, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And you say inner teenager. So yeah, I think that's really cool, and that's brilliant. That just segues perfectly into why you're here and what you're going to talk about. So come on, give us an outline of what you actually do then. So for somebody with my background, or somebody that doesn't know as much as stuff that you know, then to dumb it down a little bit for me.
Okay, so I predominantly support teenagers who are experiencing anxiety. So school-based anxiety, social anxiety, and I help them make sense of their experiences and hopefully navigate their way through the world, and help it kind of make sense for them, with them. I also work with parents and carers of those teenagers, if that's appropriate. And then I deliver training to schools and youth organisations all across the world on topics like mental health awareness, specifically at the moment around emotionally based school avoidance. So young people that are experiencing high levels of anxiety about attending school. I run therapeutic groups, so small groups of young people and their families, and use lots of creative, interactive approaches to help them reduce their stress levels, reduce their anxiety, and help increase their confidence and their self-esteem.
And how did you get into this, Ange? Because it's fascinating.
So, I mean, long story.
We've got 15 minutes.
Tap the watch. My own experiences of being a teenager and being homeless from a young age and experiencing high levels of anxiety myself for a really significant part of my life. Trained to be a youth worker and a childline volunteer, became a therapist, and then worked for lots and lots of different organisations like Mind, YMCA, Terence Higgins Trust, and just worked in private practice, but with all of those organisations as well. So it's been a long and interesting path, but I've worked with some really, really incredible people along the way.
That's amazing. So you've definitely got the T-shirt.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. and I guess battle scars.
Yeah, I would say so. But I think they have helped me be the person that I am.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. The thing is, right, I guess we all suffer with a form of anxiety every now and again. And a lot of people say that I'm a confident person and I come across as confident. But if I'm going to go and stand out on stage, I'm having palpitations before I go out. Yeah. And so we all have different levels of anxiety. And because you've been there, done that, and gone from, I didn't realize you were homeless, and suffering like that. You've turned it all around, and here you are, the expert on teenage anxiety, which is incredible, and just shows how far you can go. And I guess that when you're talking with the youngsters really inspires them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time as a therapist, you don't really talk about your own experiences. So
all right, okay.
Very open online about the things that I am willing and able to share, but that sometimes doesn't come into the sort of the therapy space, because often it's not about me. So there's more of that. They might sense that I get it on maybe a different level, and sometimes I might share a little bit, and sometimes I don't, because it's sort of not appropriate. So it's an interesting job to have. Lots of people come and work with me because I do talk about these experiences, and some people want somebody that understands what it's like to have those lived experiences of anxiety.
Yeah, definitely. So how long have you been working with teenagers?
Since 2007, however many years
that is 16 years.
Yes, 16 years.
16 years, because that's when I moved back here. So yeah, great year, 2007. So have you noticed a change? In 2007, we didn't have smartphones. We didn't have internet on our phones and stuff like that. So have you noticed a change from when you started in 2007 to 16 years down the line to now?
I think in terms of the way people interact is very different because of the technology. So I started in 2007 as a childline volunteer counsellor, and I would say 95% of those children would ring you and you would speak to people on the phone.
95%.
Yeah, I mean, don't totally quote me on that.
That's fine.
But certainly, and certainly to begin with, everybody phoned in. Then it went to sort of online. and people would communicate sort of via Messenger, and that is certainly a much more popular forum format now. I think the world is just such a different place. It's almost impossible to compare then to now. I think the experiences of the pandemic alone have had such a dramatic and significant effect on people. Technology, I think, can be both helpful and a hindrance. At the moment, I'm researching how to use technology in therapy in a therapeutic way to help people reduce anxiety. And, you know, it's how can we use technology in an appropriate and safe way whilst helping young people engage with the world in a way that makes sense to them, which is through their phones, which is through gaming. So we kind of can't say it's all bad because it's not going anywhere. So how do we bring that into our conversations?
Yeah, we were chatting about AI the other day, and all these things, these technological changes that come, we have to embrace them. You know, years ago we had the Industrial Revolution, and they were bringing in machines and stuff like that, and people said, "Oh, no one's ever going to work again." Well, we're all working harder and longer, and goodness knows what else, in jobs that didn't even exist back then. And I guess that with all of the technology, you have to use it. You can't just turn around and go, "Oh no, we're just going to have Childline on the phone." You know, you've got all kinds of apps, and I noticed that Apple launched a new VR headset, so maybe that'll come in, and goodness knows what else in the future. It's crazy the pace of change.
And that's what I'm researching at the moment, is things like the use of virtual reality, augmented reality, and how that can be mapped into therapeutic group sessions, things like gaming, things like animation. How do we co-create experiences with young people and their families to make it more interesting? So all of that stuff is coming into our world. So how can we embrace that, really?
Interesting. I got a question here from Pavel. Do you find online counselling session as effective as compared to personal contact?
This is such a good question. So with the before the pandemic, all of my work was face to face, apart from the volunteer work I did, which was online. And then during the pandemic, you often measure your outcomes. It sounds very cold, but you often measure your outcomes as a therapist with your clients to make sure that you're doing right by them, that they're having a good experience, and also so that they're seeing an improvement. And I didn't notice a change in my outcomes when I moved all my clients online. Some therapists would say different things. I think the particular people that I work with and attract, and the way in which I work, has meant that actually I haven't gone back really to face. I do 1 or 2 face-to-face sessions a month, and they're, again, with my client group, my clients want to be online. They want to be in the comfort of their own home, in their comfy clothes, drinking whatever their favorite cup of tea is. So actually it actually eases a lot of the social anxiety and a lot of the barriers. And I think certainly I work a lot with LGBTQ plus young people, but you know, because of anxiety, I work a lot with neurodivergent young people. Actually having a safe space to begin with means that we can do deeper work more quickly, because they're not having to navigate their way through an office building or get on a bus or, you know, sit in a room and not really know what to expect.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that, and I guess that's why Pavel posed that question, because if I am suffering with anxiety, the last thing I want to do is get on a bus and go and meet a strange woman. Now, you're not strange, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And I guess just opening up my laptop and seeing you on my iPad or however else you deliver it, it's just like me talking to Gran or something like that. So yeah, that's brilliant. And you're engaging, and so yeah, I can see that you deliver, you know, everything like that. So no, great question. And again, that is embracing the technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had that in 2007.
No. I mean, in fairness, if we had not had broadband wired to our house, I don't actually know what we would have done during the pandemic. So it's also, you know, the things like digital poverty play a huge part in being able to do online work. And again, for some clients, that's not possible. So always having the option that's possible is a helpful thing for people to have, and then they can choose what works for them.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So it's just teenagers that you work with?
No, I work with from about age 4 all the way through to adulthood, but teenagers are my speciality. Sounds like such an odd thing to say. That's the client group that I work with the most.
Yeah, I guess they're so 4-year-old. I can't believe a child of 4 has anxiety issues, but that's was that happening in 2007?
Yeah, I mean, you would get, I think people struggle in different ways, and and a 4-year-old isn't necessarily going to tell you they're anxious, but they might be struggling. And there's a lot more sort of play-based approaches that are used with younger children. Whereas once you hit the teenage years, then obviously that's much more. Not obviously, it can still be very creative, but there is often a lot more language attached to that, or potentially attached to that.
I guess a 4-year-old today, the biggest part of their life, they've been in lockdown, which again, I suppose is going to exacerbate those feelings of anxiety.
Absolutely. And, and we're seeing all kinds of issues showing up, across all ages in terms of the impact of that developmentally, and the lack of socialization, the impact of that, and also the safety that provided some people. So, actually knowing the space that you're living in and what the rules are in your house is very different to then having to go out and go into school, which can feel very overwhelming, and it's very uncertain. So balance.
And how are the schools with anxiety? Because I can imagine when I was at school, if I'd have turned around and said, "Oh, I've got anxiety, I don't fancy coming in today," I'd have probably been caned and put in the corner or something with a hat on. What are they like today?
I think schools are trying really, really hard to make sense of what it is that is happening for the young people that are in their care, and doing their absolute best with what they have, which is often not very much, to get the training and the resources that they need to be able to support children and young people. So I think we learn, we continue to learn. I hope in education that continues to happen. So, we don't know what we don't know, and then then more information comes in, and we kind of add that. And I think that's what schools and organizations are doing, is becoming much more aware of the impact of things like trauma, and then how anxiety can be a symptom of that, and then how to support those children.
No, fantastic. And I appreciate you can't give us the ins and outs, but have you got any good news stories, anything that you can share, that the benefits of working and doing stuff that you do?
I mean, I can't be specific because of confidentiality. But I think counselling can benefit anybody, regardless of what it is that they're bringing. If you find somebody that you have a good connection with and a good relationship with them, regardless of whatever model of therapy they use, then it can be life-saving and life-changing. And I've been very, very privileged to walk alongside thousands of people and carry some of those people around in my heart. It's this work, it sounds really kind of passionate. I think it's a real gift, it's a real privilege. So yeah, long may it continue. So yeah, lots of good outcomes, but nothing specific that I would be able to share online.
No, that's okay. So no, but basically, if you've got a teenager who's suffering, then reach out and ask for help.
Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be private therapy. That's not accessible to everybody. Start with your GP. There are lots of free helplines. There's organisations like Anxiety UK. There's organisations like Childline. Start there. If you're a parent or a carer and you're worried about your child, there's lots of sort of parent support lines that are also free. You can start to pull information together, and there's lots of stuff that I do for free for parents and carers and for young people. So and I'm not the only organisation that does that. So yeah, I would say do something, whatever that is. Start a conversation with that child and see where that takes you, because people do find their way through that, and there is another side to it potentially if you find the right people and get the right help.
Yeah. Are you solely one-to-one, or are you solely group? How do you work with people? And
I do so one-to-one counselling, and then I run, they're called therapeutic groups, so small groups of sort of between 6 and 8 people, often with their parents and carers as well. So much more kind of community-based approach. So young person led, and those are in person, the group sessions.
Yep.
And then training I tend to do online.
No, fantastic. Amazing. And seeing you smile and talking with such passion is lovely to see. And, you know, so you've found exactly what brings you joy.
Absolutely.
But obviously transforms so many lives. It's not the teenager that you transform. It's the whole family, isn't it? And, you know, their siblings and, you know, their parents and grandparents and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what amazing work you do. We've pretty much come to the end of the show. You were saying you've got something coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So if you want to share that and let people get involved, that would be great.
Yeah, so I'm running a one-day workshop on reducing barriers to school attendance, so emotionally based school avoidance, which is a really practical session for any youth professionals who are supporting young people who are struggling to attend school. It's particularly for young people who want to attend school but don't know how. It is not designed to force anybody to do anything they don't want to do, but it's based on lots and lots of research and therapeutic groups that were run last year. So full of lovely strategies, a really gentle assessment process, and a particular tool that I use with lots of clients to help them identify what it is that they're struggling with. So you'll go away with a lovely resource pack and hopefully lots of extra tools for your toolkit. So it's on my LinkedIn profile. If you do want to hop on and have a little look, then there are still spaces left. So yeah,
fantastic. And at the end of this, you can actually drop it into LinkedIn for us. That's fantastic. And if you're listening to the podcast, you'll find loads of links from Ange, and you can go and find her and connect with her there. So I've got one more question for you, but before I do that, I'm just going to quickly go to next week, and I do have another superstar joining me next week. This is a guy. Where is he? There he is. Billy Schwer. He was a championship boxer, international, and won a few belts and stuff. He's now a motivational speaker, so he's going to come on and tell us a little bit about what he does. And yeah, I cannot wait to have a good old chat with Billy. So that's next week. But meanwhile, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self, Ange?
I would say to her, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. But I think the advice I would give her is to let people in, let people love you, let people help you, because on the other side are really, really amazing things. But the only way you're going to get there is by asking for help. So that's what I would say to her.
Oh, I love that. That is lovely. Brilliant. And anyone else that's listening, if you're struggling, just ask for help. Brilliant. Thank you very much to everybody for all your lovely comments and questions and everything else that you've done today. Ange, thank you very much for coming along. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win.